It's At the Music with and Gotchy. Which is the saddest fruit? Is it the peach with its unruly... Zach,
Hey, Matt.
where you been?
Oh, I went to Europe and they've got these new sandwiches there. It's the newest thing.
Is it any good? Or?
Yeah, they toast them.
Probably a bit cold, isn't it?
Yeah, because of the flight. What
So
have you been doing?
I've just been waiting here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you were going to get a sandwich. I didn't think you'd go to Europe.
Yeah. Didn't I say where I was getting the sandwich?
I guess you didn't specify. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair enough. Let's do the intro again. I was going to hide behind the vinyl like this. Which is the saddest fruit? Is it the peach with all that unruly fuzz? Or is it the avocado, the closet fruit that everyone thinks is a vegetable? Or is it the depression cherry? Either way, that's the title of the new Beach House record, Depression Cherry. Zach, what did you think of Depression Cherry?
I guess I just thought that this far down they might shift it up a bit. And rather than shift it up, they've just kind of pulled back and they've toned everything down and pulled it. And I think that that's admirable in a way. Like I like that the fact that they've become this hugely like a very big top 50 band. That they haven't like risen to that and started writing pop hits. You know that they've made a much more intimate record, a much more stripped down record. And so I kind of appreciate the intention of that. But at the same time, I found this record a little bit disappointing from its kind of unwillingness to veer from the Beach House formula.
It does feel in a way like a bit of a regression. You know, like when you had like Bloom or Teen Dream, you had the big signals like Zebra and Myth. And they're these huge, majestic numbers. And when you see them live, and they've got that live drummer, it just can really fill a stadium in a good way. But to be honest, I really quite like that. You know what I mean? I'm quite taken by it. I'm not ashamed to say that I love those stadium rock numbers.
I don't feel that there's much on this record that you can't find on even the records before Teen Dream, Devotion, or the self-titled one. It's just very much more Beach House, which is to say that it's still a good record because they're really good at what they do. So there's lots of pretty melodies, pretty synths, but primarily it feels like another Beach House record, which is never something I think you want to have. Despite that, I mean, Beach House are a good band, so I think it's still, for me, going to get 3 Zacs and probably a half a Gotchy right on the end of that.
Zac.
Gotchy. Well, I quite loved the track PPP. That sort of brought it all together for me, I think. I'm going to give it 3 Zacs, though.
Zac.
Family. You can't live with them. You can't live without them. Luckily, if you move out of home, you're able to satisfy both criteria. I don't know where Brisbane band Blank Realm live, but I do know that they're all related, mostly. Matt, does your family have a band?
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. My dad was the drummer in seminal Melbourne punk group The Seamen. Quite a diverse record. I thought at the start, I'm thinking jangle rock record, but then it sort of takes all these turns, you know. It's got this heavy psychedelic of like a King Gizzard or something like that. Then it's got these really sort of big, huge ambient washes and stuff, and it's quite grandiose.
Blank Realm have well and truly, like this record asserts them as like a pop band, far from the kind of like improvised noise act that they were before. Their last record, Grassed In, was kind of moving in this direction. They're very much like, it's a, you know, the go-betweens have well and truly like influenced this record. I'd say that they're absolutely up there with the best of them in terms of like jangle bands because, like you said, they have these disparate influences, because they bring in elements of noise and of ambient music. I think it's a much more interesting listen than a lot of other jangle acts.
Yeah, he's also quite a good lyricist, and his vocals are in the fore. And yeah, he's got a sort of like a wit that's kind of absent in a lot of these records.
Yeah. And a really distinctive voice.
Which
is
very rock and roll.
Yeah, very rock and roll. But it's nice to kind of differentiate it from the sort of like lethargic stoner drawl that has become the kind of trademark of like Australian suburban music. You know what I mean? Like he actually, there's a little bit more attitude to it.
Yeah. Although I do think at a few points, like the jammier parts come across a little mushy to my ears, and sort of feel more ready for a live setting, I think, than the actual record itself.
But if you liked Grassed In, their last record, or if you just like, I guess, Australian kind of like indie rock, I mean, Blank Realm, I think, are as good at it as anyone that's going right now. I think in the landscape of Australian records, I think that this is a pretty comfortable 4 Zacka for me.
That's 3 Zacs and half a Gotchy.
Gotcha.
Well, another day, another episode of At the Music.
And it's great to have you back, Zac.
And it's great to be back, Matt. Anyway, I'm hungry and I'm going to get a sandwich.
Again? You getting another sandwich?
Well, yeah.